So I have Derek who's talking about users on permissions on the Windows side. He says, what is the proper settings to get it to work right? So he's been having issues with that. Well, one of the things, if you remember what we were talking, is what you want to set for the share is, if you look right in here, you want to go to Shares and Access Control List. So double click on the logical volume, then the share, or go back up. You want to click once on the share, sorry about that. Then you can go into the users, and then go right into access permissions. Take the user and group and put them on 0, because this is the default. So you want to go back into your access control list, select the share, go to access permissions, and make sure the default group and owner has the read, write, and execute taken off. Then from that standpoint, we're based on, I want you to understand that we're based on POSIX, so we support only the read, write, execute permissions. So on your Windows system, let's take a look. Let's bring this up. Again, you can see in my Active Directory users and computers, I've added the DSS server computer name. And of course, I do have my users for the domain users. And I've set my DNS forward and reverse lookup zone. So if you remember, the DSS is for the records that I have here for this host is 192.168.0.220. So if I look at a share, here we can go to (192.168). We have data. Now, if we go to properties, we go to security. You also can set the ADS specials permissions here. So if you have the everyone group, I recommend taking that off completely, unless that share is destined for as just a temp directory for all to dump files or to share files. It's really irrelevant to the company. But here you can set special users and permissions. So for those advanced, and you can set those specific users into the ADS server. Typically, when you take off the user and group, and you take off the read-write permissions, as we've shown in the DSS server side, then the rest, the ADS handles the special permissions. So once again, the question is a relevant question, is you want to be able to get to the access control list, double-click on your logical volume, access the share with one click, specify which users and groups that you would add additional permissions to, and then access the access permissions. Here, make sure that the user is the default user owner is taken off with read, write, and execute, and also the group. I had a case today with a customer with FTP and ADS users, and all the users were, even with password, username and password, when they authenticate to FTP, they were able to see a public folder with all the files and shares. As soon as he took this off, he was able to control who was able to access what files and folders. So the permissions is the next question is now if you were to create a directory in that share and set the permissions within Windows, would the permissions stay? So I think I understand what you're saying is if you create another directory within that share, so your subfolder, you want to make sure that the inherited rights are not flowing down from the users and groups and for that share. So make sure that you imply those inherited. So yes, that will be taken care of all the way through. Again, you want to be able to click on the access control list, and here you can get a little bit more information about the settings. And we give you examples as well. So please be aware. And also in the manual, I want to point out that this helps you out to understand about the read, write, and execute policies that we have with the POSIX. So to be able to get to that, let's go take a quick look. That way it helps out some of you to be able to find out. If you click here, right on to the Help About section, and there is the manual. You'll be able to download that. So here we go. Takes a step, because what we're doing is we're going out to the website and pulling this down. So if we look at, if we just type ADS, some examples on how to use access control lists with ADS or PDC authentication. So here on these pages, please read them because they'll help you understand how to work with your permissions. So we'll give you examples that you can test out: create a read-only permission, allow full access to directories, change directory owners. So, and if you scroll on down, there's more of how it works with inherited permissions. And basically what Unix rights and Windows are, so for folder permissions. So you could be able to understand how this works with the read, write, and execute. So those are currently on DSS V6, pages 17, 18, and 19. So there's a lot of information right in there for that, and also 2021.